Hey everybody, Jeremy the Minnesota Dad here. I'm back at the area that I was in a week or two ago when I tried the 24-hour $10 dollar store survival challenge. And if you remember, if you saw that video, you know that I accomplished several things that I wanted to accomplish, but I didn't make a fire. And I didn't even try to last 24 hours. And I ended up failing. I'm back today to try to recreate some of the conditions, and this time I want to make a fire. One of the people that really encouraged me and also basically told me, hey, it's no big deal if you can't make it the whole time, is a guy named Larry Roberts. He's been on the History Channel Alone show. He lasted a long time. What I like about Larry Roberts is he's a regular guy. He does things out in the woods, and he's no nonsense about it. I mean, he'll tell you straight up how he feels about different sorts of shelters, survival shelters, or bushcraft shelters, or basically just shelters where you're just building a fort in the woods. He told me if you can't make a fire, you're going to get cold. It doesn't matter how warm you think you are, you're going to get cold. So if you had to call it and go home, it's no big deal. So that was pretty cool. It felt good to hear some sort of validation from somebody who's been through it. They're like, hey, there's no shame in calling it. There's no shame. So that was cool. Thanks, Larry. Another person who I reached out to after the fact and kind of told him about the situation was Fowler from History Channel's Alone. He watched the video and he told me, look, you need to do three things. You do shelter, fire, and water. And looking back on it, I did shelter, water, fire. And in the short amount of time of daylight that I had, I should have done it the other way like he said. And he gave me some really cool advice. He left a long comment on my YouTube video, which I really appreciate. And so thanks, Fowler, for that. The three mistakes that I made that if I were to do it again, I would change. I would give myself more daylight. That's number one. Number two, I would do a different order of priority. I would do shelter, fire, water. I would have built my basic shelter, made a fire, and then went and got water. Or if the fire went out, at least I had the confidence to know I could make a fire. And then I would have built a raised bed. Then I would have built a fire reflector and things like that. Okay, so that's number two. Number three, I would have looked at it more as a survival situation. By that I mean I would have utilized all my resources. And I had several resources that I could have used to start a fire, and I didn't use them. Today I'm going to try to use those resources and build a fire and see what happens. So one of the things I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go around and collect materials that I'm going to use to make a tinder bundle. Dried up, twigs and different sorts of things like that. That's one of the mistakes. One of the mistakes I made was not collecting enough material for a tinder bundle. So I'm going to get things like this, like these little dried up reeds and different underbrush type things. So I found a bunch of these thin, they look kind of hollow. I don't know if you can see in there. They're like hollow reed type things with a really thin, sturdy, like fiber lining, I guess. And like you can peel it back and it's really fibrous and very like string almost. So I'm going to keep these over here and add them over here. It looks like there are some nice options right down here. Right here. So I'm going to get some of these really thin, really fine grasses here and try to make like a big bundle. You can see they're kind of scattered around. Nice little bundle here. It's pretty dense, and I can tell some of it's cold. It's not really damp, but I can't tell So I'm going to use this, see if this starts. And then I do have some pieces of packaging paper and stuff, and a couple like paper receipts that I had in my car. So I'm going to use that too. So one of the things that I'm doing differently is I'm taking the time to kind of set up a little bed here. And I want to make my little nest right up here. Actually, I'm going to try to light my nest in my hand and put it down here. But I want to have a lot of things at the ready to put on top of the nest. So, or on top of the tinder bundle so that it lights up. So, without further ado, let me get right down to it. Same situation. Crappy lighters. Right here. Let's try it again. Make sure everything looks good, okay? So set those over here. Now, I'm just going to hold this in my hand. Set this up here to make sure it doesn't fall through when I do put it down. Okay. And let's see. Taking my time a little bit. Okay. See if this starts up. Oh, look at that. Looks like it's starting. Okay. Now I can put this other stuff on here. Now, put this stuff on. Hopefully this catches. Now, just because there's a flame doesn't mean it's going to turn into a fire. And a lot of this stuff is wet from snow. I can't believe this. First try. All I had to do was take my time. Put all this stuff up here. Looks like that's catching pretty good. It's smoking pretty good because it's wet. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. All right, well. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I seriously can't believe this. All I had to do was take some time to find some tinder, make a better tinder bundle, and then here I go. Get all this stuff out of the way. All right, I can take this camera up here and see what's what. Unbelievable. All I had to do was take a few more moments to collect some items that would be good for a tinder bundle. It's all I had to do. Now I'm getting smoked out because it's so gosh darn wet. All I had to do. Unbelievable. You can see it's very smoky. But it's working. So I'm going to break these down and add to it. I'm not crying here, just get smoke in my eyes, but seriously, all I had to do was go and collect the right sort of materials, take my time with them, break them down a little bit, make a little bit of a bundle. And it took me, what, 5 seconds to light that? So if you recall, in the video that I did, I had my little bread pan here. And I also went down to the Larson Slough to get some water. Well, I'm not going to do that today because I already showed that I could do that. So I'm just using a jug of water I brought with me that's kind of icy. So first things first, I'll do my water here. I'm going to boil it all up, a whole bunch. Not too much to where if it tips it'll put the fire out, but enough to make a soup. Now you can see water's pretty cold. So let's see if I can find a good spot here. This 25 degrees feels great. I don't build a lot of fires. In fact, this is the first time I built a fire with the fire reflector, but I can already tell that I'm getting a lot of heat here, like a lot of heat. So I feel really warm even just down here, and that's a small fire. So if you remember, I got a tin of Danish style butter cookies. Inside, as I suspected, was a little paper and cookies. Nice. All right. So I'm going to get these cookies out, and I'm going to see if I can cook water in this. That's part of the reason I got this tin, to see if I could boil water in it. So one of the good things about these ramen soups is that you can actually, most people know this, I think, is you can pour the water in the bag and kind of cook this up just in the bag, which is great. So I'm going to take this little flavor and put it in here, and then get my water that is bubbling up, just about ready to start boiling, and put it in here. I added more wood to the fire, and I moved this a little bit to the side, as the last thing I want is this to spill. So I want it kind of level. I took this off. You can see there's bubbles in there. It was bubbling up pretty good, but I feel like it's hot enough to pour into the bags here. Now this, I'm actually going to pour this soup into. Remember I had beef and barley? This time I have chicken noodle soup with the tab, so I'm going to try that. Part of being out in a state forest is you get visitors, so people on horses. That's pretty cool. That's really cool. Looks like I don't even think they see me. Hi. Hi. I'm filming. I'm filming like a survival thing. Yeah, for my YouTube channel. That's pretty cool. What I did is I poured my water that was in there in my ramen soup things here. Now, I understand it's in the, they're in the snow, whatever, but I don't need these to be, restaurant quality piping hot. I just need the noodles to cook and have it be sort of edible. Now you can see my fire is starting to go down, but I'm getting a nice bed of coals. And I don't want to risk whatever holds this tin together. I don't want it to fall apart. So I don't want it like a raging fire for this. And now that I know I can make a fire, a lot more confidence. So I just want some hot coal type things here so my soup will warm up. I could eat this soup cold, but it would be pretty gross. One of the things I guess I wanted to touch on is everything that I've heard says that if you have a can of food here that is sealed, inside the can is some sort of weird plastic lining that is helps keep the food preserved. But if I put this can in there, it'll be some sort of weird chemical reaction that I guess just won't be good for me. So it looks like this tin here doesn't have that lining. So I'm going to pour this soup into this tin and just warm it up. Yeah, you can see there's a weird orangish kind of lining in there. So I'm going to put this tin right on top of there and just hope for the best, I guess. But what I want to do now is find some sort of utensil so I can eat my noodles. So now you can see over here on the edges there, if it focuses in, I get down there, there's little bubbles. So obviously it's cooking. So you can see that this is really starting to bubble and boil. So I put my glove on, I'm going to take this off. I'm going to wait till that gets to a really good rolling boil. I think what I'm going to do is transfer these noodles into this along with that too, so it's really flavorful. And then what I've done is made one little stick here and another one that I'm working on. I'll just use them as chopsticks. I've poured the soup into the big bread pan with the 2 ramen soups. I have my little chopsticks here. Now I kept a little water in that bread pan as I wanted it really warm. Now let's see what happened here. All right, so this bottom of this got really charred, but the inside looks fine. So I guess this is a fine container to cook stuff in. A couple boiled over here, a couple little drops or whatever boiled over, but nothing was bad. That's pretty cool. That's good to know. Use my little chopsticks, kind of push this stuff in. I want these noodles to kind of soften up a little bit more. Let's see if it works. Well, they're not the best chopsticks, but let's see. Ooh, I'm gonna stick them together a little bit better here. Let's see if they'll work better. Like that. Let's try. Mmm. Mmm. That's good. That's comforting. The fire's dying down. This fire's only been going for, what, an hour? But, maybe an hour. But, there's so much wood out here. And I have such a good confidence about building a fire now that I feel like I could just go get some more wood and add it to it. Now, it's a smoky fire because a lot of this wood is wet. If I were going to make it through the night, I would have to have piles, just piles of wood over here. And I have to use big logs too, like this. I'd have to find real big ones. But so far, so good. I'm gonna, when I leave here in a little bit after I'm done eating, I'm gonna tear this thing down and keep some of this stuff. It's kind of cool. But I gotta eat this stuff and get the heck out of here before the sun goes down. Final thoughts. I should have taken my time on the fire. I could have made it if I would have taken my time finding a tinder bundle and then having a secondary sort of bridge between that and twigs. Using packaging paper and receipts and stuff, and then expecting that to ignite and then, you know, make a fire to start some twigs on fire. That was irresponsible, or not irresponsible, it was just foolish. So I'm heading home. It is 4:09. Been out here a couple hours. Accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. And I learned that it seems like there's just a really, really fine line between doing what you want to do and failing at doing what you want to do. And God dang it, if I would have taken my time. But lesson learned. I don't even know if I want to try this challenge again, because now that I know I can do that, make a fire, and I'm pretty sure I can last. And to be honest, it's hard for me to find time to do an overnight. But anyway, so again, big thanks to the people that encouraged me and kind of talked me through it along the way, or before and after, I guess. And special thanks to Kenton at Rewild University for kind of inspiring me to get out in the cold. He has a video that I think most human beings would find unbelievable. At any rate, Kenton, thanks a lot, man. And it was really cool meeting you the other day. As you can see, I've been out here now, I think it's a couple hours, in just my t-shirt. So about 25, I think. But I'm not cold. Really cool, really nice. At any rate, thanks for watching, everybody. And I hope this inspires some of you to get out there and try. And even if you fail, get out and try again. Keep trying until you get it right. All right, thanks for watching.